Splatterbot is a debut game for Hey Kookaburra, which is a 1 to 4 local multiplayer mess 'em up, I guess, where you control robots that look suspiciously like Roombas, but they are reverse Roombas because they will paint and create mess wherever they go. And this is essentially arena-based Splatoon. You'll want to paint as much of the area in your colour as possible by zooming around and causing carnage, whilst all of the other competitors will be doing the same. You can face off all against all in a free-for-all match, and you can fill in computer opponents for however many slots you need, or you can go 2v2 in team mode, again with computer opponents filling in what you need. And the beauty of this is that the AI are largely quite competent. Occasionally they do get a bit stuck, but I think this trends towards a couple of bugs that I had throughout my gameplay of Splatterbot, which I'll get to later. There are 6 arenas, and whilst that is quite a small number, they do have unique properties for each one. So the office one has breakable walls, which means that you can take shortcuts and smash through it if you use your dash. The factory level has a conveyor belt that spews out parcels and power-ups, so you can kind of zoom around a bit quicker if you do that. The dock level has containers that you can run through because it's 2 separate arenas with little tunnels on, whereas the boating area has to be jumped between, and so you've got to be precise and make sure you don't fall in the water because you'll lose a few seconds and need to respawn. Alongside that, there are 4 power-ups in this game, but I really like what Splatterbot does with power-ups. When you start out in your battle, your speed and size are at what I'll call level 1, but if you pick up the speed power-up, that permanently moves you to a level 2 speed, zooming around faster than anyone else. But if you get a second speed power-up, you'll then hit level 3 and you'll be absolutely bombing it around, and the same goes for size as well. Alongside that, you can also get paintable balls of your colour, which you can then use like ping pong to then start bouncing around the environment, so long as you can kind of get behind it and use the boost to try and push it away in some kind of area. And again, that means particularly if you get into the hexagon boxing ring environment, where all of the walls are bouncy, this becomes like Hungry Hungry Hippo painting edition on steroids, which is quite good fun to play. I just really like the quite unique spin that an upgrade or a power-up is permanent throughout the battle that you're playing, and there's levels to that system. And so it plays into the strategy of everyone running for that power-up to try and get it, but then using that to try and steal power-ups even though you can't get any better, so that you can block your opponents from getting better, because that gives you a competitive advantage overall. There are a couple of minor bugs with Splatterbot. One is that if you're playing against AI opponents, when the clock hits 0, the AI seems to have an extra couple of seconds whilst they wind down, which gives them an extra, say, 5% or so, which can, in a very tight battle, turn the tide. And I did run into a couple of issues, specifically with the dock level, where suddenly no one was able to paint on the floor anymore, and I couldn't understand why, and whether that's a bug or a feature, and I just didn't understand what was going on. If it's a feature, it doesn't tell you why. Lastly, there's also some cosmetics you can unlock through playing multiple games. It's not tied to any skill feats at all, and they're trails that you can leave behind you, as well as some costumes you can pop on your head or over your eyes. But it's longevity that becomes the slight issue with Splatterbot, because whilst the moment-to-moment gameplay is totally fine and actually quite enjoyable, the scope of this game starts to mean that you only want to play it in short, sharp, succinct doses, because there's only 4 colours. That feels particularly odd to me and could have lent to some simple customisation. But the 6 arenas are fine, but they're small, single screen with little differentiation apart from hopping around a little bit and maybe pushing some objects about or smashing some things. They could have taken those 6 arenas and had like 4 variations of layout for each using the same mechanics, and infinitely you've now got a 4 times bigger game for very little effort compared to how the rest of the game is built. And so I'd love to see that expanded upon if there are some post-launch patches and updates to Splatterbot, because it's really around the lack of arenas and variety there that kind of means that you only want to play this for short bursts. Will it end up in my local multiplayer rotation? Yes, absolutely. It's good fun, but after 5 to 10 minutes, we'll park it and move on to make sure it stays fresh. Splatterbot is out on the 4th of September.